In our final trainer tip on assessing physiological load, we will discuss the musculoskeletal system. The musculoskeletal system is pretty much the end organ. It is slave to the visceral system. It is slave to the glandular system. It is slave to the digestive and eliminative systems, which are visceral systems. It's slave to the nervous system. It's pretty much the slave. Yet, at the same time, if you look at the research on the nervous system, the musculoskeletal system has the capacity to overflow itself into an organ. So, for example, it's not unusual for women who have had surgery on their L5-S1 disc to end up with severe menstrual imbalances. Excuse me, I'm going to do that again. Let me start from the top on that one.
Sure. Time code is 1640, whenever you're ready.
In this final trainer tip on assessing physiological load, I'd like to talk about the musculoskeletal system. The key thing I'd like to share about the musculoskeletal system, which interestingly enough goes almost totally against conventional wisdom, is that the musculoskeletal system is the slave of higher biological systems, such as the visceral, glandular, hormonal, neurological, immune, and nervous systems. Yet the musculoskeletal system also has the capacity to communicate with those other systems. So, for example, it's not unusual for someone, particularly a female as an example, who's had surgery on their low back, particularly the L5-S1 disc, to have permanently disrupted menstrual cycles after such a surgery because of the communication between the sex organs and the lower lumbar vertebra and discs and nerves. Also, it's not unusual for people who have had significant musculoskeletal injuries, such as car accidents, bicycle falls, etc., to begin to have digestive, eliminative, and hormonal problems after such insults. In addition, pain is the chief factor that disrupts normal motor unit recruitment and the ability to execute normal movement patterns. So whenever you're bringing on a new client, it's important to assess the length-tension relationships in the musculoskeletal system. And remember, we should not stretch muscles that don't need stretching, or we actually throw the body out of balance. At the Czech Institute, I teach my students that the human body is like a finely tuned string instrument, and muscles are like strings on a guitar or a piano. If you just stretch a loose muscle, you just make it looser and it throws the organ or the instrument further out of balance. And if you just exercise tight muscles, it further increases their tension, further again imbalancing the body. In my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, I show you 20 stretch tests and how to administer a basic length tension assessment so you can customize a flexibility program. When we normalize the flexibility in the body, that is the first step into our stability training. You cannot have normal joint stability if you have imbalances in the muscles around the joint. This is why I teach all my students that the first thing we must do is restore normal flexibility and muscle balance. And while we're doing that, we restore stability to the system. And only when the posture is normal and the joint function is normal and the length-tension relationships are normal should we entertain a strength training program. Because to the degree that we use strength training with postural and muscle imbalances, we magnify those imbalances. Once the body is flexible, stable, and strong, then and only then can we safely administer power training exercises.